WordPress is a powerful machine when it comes to publishing content on the web. And although it started as a blogging platform, it's now the most popular platform for creating websites. And WordPress being flexible and extensible by nature, you can also add new content types instead of the default pages and posts, like for a movie review website, for example. But unless you are a developer or want to spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars hiring one, changing the way the WordPress loop is displayed on your website could prove to be complicated and take a lot of time. So in this video, I'll show you how to easily pull data dynamically and customize the way it is displayed with the Spectra Pro Visual Website Builder. Hello, I'm Kay from the Spectra team, and today I'll show you how to use the Loop Builder and Dynamic Data extension with Spectra Pro. We'll take the example of a movie database very similar to a website that you may well know. But this is just an example because there are plenty of other use cases for the Loop Builder and Dynamic Data extension, like an online shoes catalog, an online school with tutors, or a garage parts website, just to name a few. What we'll cover in this video. So before we get started, let's take a look at what you learn in this video. So first of all, you'll learn about what the WordPress loop is. Next, we'll see how to customize the blog loop. And finally, we'll see how to create a custom post type loop. So here is what we're going to build today, a movie review website. Now you may be thinking, that looks like IMDb, right? But you couldn't be further from the truth, because take a look closer. This is MIDB, so that's completely different. Yeah, I believe what I just said. So of course we'll take care of the movies, but first we'll take a look at the blog and we'll see how we can edit the blog loop. Next, we'll go back to movies and create our own movies review database. Now we're gonna go as simple as possible here so you can learn the basics and then build up on that foundation. Next, what is the loop in WordPress? So if you go to Google and type the WordPress loop, the first link will be this one from the WordPress Codex. And it says the loop is PHP code used by WordPress to display posts. Using the loop, WordPress processes each post to be displayed on the current page and formats it according to how it matches specified criteria within the loop tags. Any HTML or PHP code in the loop will be processed on each post. Okay, all of that means this. This is the way the loop is displaying the post on a standard website with the default WordPress theme. So as you can see, it looks clean, it looks nice, but what if you want to change the elements? What if you want to put the title above the image? What if you want to remove the excerpt, or want to remove the date, or want to add more meta? How do you do it? So that's why the Loop Builder from Spectra Pro is such a big deal, because it's going to allow you to change the loop at will. Now the WordPress loop is most known for the blog post grid, but you can also use it for custom post types. Like for example, here I created the movie custom post type, and I'm using the same WordPress loop to customize that grid. And if you take a look closely, I also got a featured movie. So if you're ready to play with the WordPress loop, let's get started. Next, using the Loop Builder and Dynamic Data extension. And first, let's set up our WordPress install. So first, let's install a WordPress theme. Now you may install any theme you want, but if you want to follow along, you might as well install the same thing that I'll be using in this video. So let's go to Appearance, Themes, then click on Add New, and I'm going to install the Astra theme. Now, if you don't see it here, you may look for it in the search bar. So I'm going to click on Install. Next, before we click on Activate, let's click on Live Preview. Because by doing this, when you activate, it will come with this template, which we're going to use as a basis for our tutorial. So next, click on Activate and Publish. Great, and we'll take care of all the options later. So let's close this. Next, you want to go to Plugins, Add New, and in the search bar, you want to look for the Spectra plugin. Click on Install Now and Activate. You will be redirected to the dashboard, but for this tutorial we need the Pro version. You can get Spectra Pro by visiting the Spectra Pro website, and you will find a link to this page in the description below. So go back to Plugins, Add New, click on Upload Plugin, choose File, and select the Spectra Pro zip file that you got when you purchased Spectra Pro. Next, click on Install Now and Activate Plugin. Next, paste your license in the license field and click on Activate. License successfully validated. Great! Okay, we got one more plugin to install. So let's go back to Plugins, Add New. And this time, still in the search field, we're gonna type ACF. And this is the plugin we're going to install, Advanced Custom Fields. And this is the plugin we'll need to create our movie custom post type. So click on Install Now and activate. Awesome, we're ready to go. Next, setting up WordPress and Astra. So if I open the home page, this is what we currently have, and this is what we want. So basically what we're going to take care of in this section is the header, the colors, the fonts, and also we change which page is the home page. We'll need to change the logo, and if I scroll down, we need to change the footer. Okay, so let's get started, and for that we need to go back to the dashboard. So first you want to go to Pages, All Pages, and we're going to trash all of these pages, but most importantly the home page. So let me click on this box here to select all pages. Then on the drop down, click on Move to Trash and click on Apply. Next, let me add a new page in a new tab. Now let's call it Movies, and let's click on the little eye icon so that we can hide it from the front end. Next, click on Publish and Publish again. Let's close this page and let's repeat the operation. So let me right click on Add New and open in a new tab. And this time let's call it Blog. And once again, you want to click on the little eye so that the title does not show in the front end. Click on Publish and Publish one more time. And let's close this page. Next, you want to go to Settings, Reading. And here we want to change a few things. First of all, where it says your homepage displays, you want to select a static page. And then for the home page, in the drop-down, you want to select the Movies pages we just created. Next, where you see the option for each post in the feed include, you want to change this to Excerpt. It's a best practice. And while you're building the website and you don't want the whole world to know about it, make sure you select that option. Discourage search engines from indexing this site. Then click on Save Changes. Next, we want to customize our website. So go to Astra, Customize, and first of all, we want to change some of the colors. So go to Global, Colors. Now we could change the global palette, but we don't really need it because we only need like a couple of colors really. But we're going to change the colors we use right here. So let's go to the bottom where it says Content Background. We want to change this to black. Next, we want to change the theme colors. So for the accent, let's use this color. Same for the link, let's use this one. And for the hover link, let's use one that is quite close but a bit darker. Next, for the headings, we want a light color, and the same for the body text, because now the content background is black. Great, let's go back one step. Now let's go to typography, and where it says body font, we want to change this for Poppins. And let's do the same for the headings font. Awesome. Now let's go back. Let's go to scroll to top, design, and we just want to change the icon color. So the background color is going to be this color, and the icon color itself is going to be black. Next, let's take care of our header. So we can go back, click on Header Builder, but we could also have just hovered over the header and click on the little edit icon. Okay, so first you want to click on the Design tab, and where it says Width, you want to click on Full Width. Next, click on the gear icon where it says Site Title and Logo, and where it says Background, you want to change this to black. Next, for the padding, you want to click on the little link icon so that you unlink the values, and it's going to be 0, 35 pixels, 0, and 35 pixels on the left. Next, we want to change our logo, so I'm just going to hover over the logo, click on the little edit icon, click on Change Logo. Now you can either drag and drop files, select it on your computer, or use images in your media library. Now, I don't have images yet, so I'm just going to select Files, and I'm just going to add all my images for this project. Great, and that's the one I want. So let me select it, hit Select. I'm going to click on Skip Cropping, because I don't want to crop that logo. And it's a tiny bit too big, so let's change the logo width. And I'm going to type 120, but of course your logo may differ. Okay, great, now let's take care of our navigation. So I'm just going to hover over the navigation, and once again I'm going to click on the edit icon, and here I have an option to configure the menu from here. So let me click on this. Then where it says primary menu, there's an edit menu link, and here I'm just going to remove the existing links in the navigation. Okay, next let me click on add items, and I'm going to add the movies and the blog page. Now if I wanted, I could reorder those pages, but the order is fine with me. So let me just click here. Now let me go back one step, one more. Let's go back to header builder, primary menu, and now you want to click on the design tab. And here you can select the menu hover style if you want, but I'm just going to leave it at none. Now let's scroll down, and where it says text link, I'm going to change the color. So I want a light color. But then for the hover, I want this color, and same for the active state, this color. Great, and if you want, you can do the same thing for the social icon. So if you click on the social widget, you can go to the design tab and change the icon colors. So let me change the hover state to this one. Okay, works fine. Okay, let's click on publish so that we don't lose all of our work. Now let's go back and let's click on footer builder. And here where you see the copyright widget, there's a gear icon on the left side. So you want to click on this gear icon, then click on the design tab. Now let's change the border color to this color, and let's give it some transparency. So in case you can't see it, the footer is right here, but you don't really see it because the color is similar to the color in the editor here. So let's fix this. Where it says background, you want to change the color and make it black. And now you can see it right here. Next, you want to click on the copyright widget, then go to design. And for the font size, we want to make it 14 pixels. Great. Let's save. And if we go to the front end, this is what we have. So we're now fully ready to add our content. Next, how to customize the blog loop. Now, before we can edit the loop for our blog page, it kind of makes sense that we need some blog posts. So for that, you want to go to posts, add new. But I already created some, so I'm just going to show you. I already created 9 blog posts. And if we open the first one, as you can see, all I did was to add a title. I put some lorem ipsum text. Next, in the featured image tab, I chose my image. Now, it is good practice to use the same size for all your blog post images. And in my case, I've been using 2560 by 1706 pixels. Next, in the excerpt tab, I just, added an excerpt. And I invite you to do so because we'll need it later in this tutorial. So just rinse, recycle, and repeat and create 9 blog posts. Okay, let's close this. And next you want to click on pages, then click on blog. And now we're ready to use the power of Spectra to build our page. But if you want to know the ins and outs of building layouts with Spectra, just take a look at this video. And of course, you'll find the link in the description below. Okay, so first you want to click on the plus sign and add a container block from Spectra. And let's select this structure here. Now you want to make sure the container is selected, so either just click here, or if you want to be sure, click on the document overview and make sure the container is selected. Next, in the side panel, you want to click on container, and where it says minimum height, you want to click on VH and give it a value of 100. Next, close the container subtab and click on flex properties. And where it says justify content, you want to align it to the top. Next, click on the style tab, then spacing, and where it says padding, you want to give it a value of 60 pixels all around. Okay, now I'm going to add the loop builder block, but because there are several options, I'll add a few loop builder blocks. So I'm just going to add a divider for the time being, but this is just for demonstration purposes. And I already have one ready. Okay, next click on the plus sign, and if you scroll down, you will see Spectra Pro and the loop builder, or you could just type loop builder in the search box. So let me click on loop builder. And as you can see here, I have several options. Portrait 1, Portrait 2, Landscape Layout, Box Layout, and Create from Scratch. Let's take a look at all of these. So first, let's click on Portrait Layout 1. And as you can see, it's pulling the data from our database. Now let's take a look at the options. So first of all, let me reopen the document overview. And as you can see, we have the loop builder block here. But if we expand it, we can see there's a wrapper and a container with various elements. So first of all, with our loop builder block selected, in the side panel, let's take a look at the options. So here we can change the number of posts per page. So let me add 4, for example. So now we have a 4th post right here. Next, we have post offset. So let me scroll back up. So this is starting from the latest post because that's the way it's set here. The order is descending and it's ordered by date. Now you can change this. You can put it ascending, let me show you. And you can also change it by title, author, or last modified. Let's try title. So now the order has changed. But let's put it back the way it was. So it was descending and by date. Scroll back up. So now if I choose a post offset of 1, as you can see, the first blog post that we saw has disappeared because we said we want to shift the offset. Now if I make it to 2, you see this one disappear. Let's try it. And there you go. So let's put it back at 0. And as you will see, that's going to be pretty handy later. Next, let's click on the content subtab. And here I can decide of the post type I want to use the loop builder with. So by default, it's post. And that's the only post type we currently have with pages. But we're going to fix that later in this video when we create our custom post type. So next you get the sticky post. You can decide to include it or not. Then you have the taxonomy. You can include a specific taxonomy. For example, here, I could say I only want to include posts from this taxonomy. Now, to be precise, the taxonomy here is categories, but I could have another taxonomy like types of blog posts. You get the idea. Now, you can also exclude taxonomies. Next, I can decide to include or exclude blog posts. So let's say I want to exclude this one here. So this is the title. So let me click on exclude, click on the drop down, click on this one, and as you can see, it disappeared from the results. Very handy. And I can do the same thing with authors. Now there is only one author here on this demo website, but if there were several, I could decide to show only posts from this and that author, and the same with exclusion. I could exclude based on the author. Great, let me scroll back up, and if you go to advanced, you have animations, display conditions, responsive conditions, z-index, and some more advanced within advanced for HTML anchor and additional CSS. Now let's click on our wrapper here that is within our loop builder. And now we have another set of options. Here I can change the number of columns. So if I put 4, now it matches the 4 posts that I have. Now of course, if I click on the responsive controls like tablet or mobile, I can change the number of columns for those specific devices. But this video will be long enough, so let's keep things simple. Next, we can change the column gap, but let's put it back to 24. Next, we have our container, and here we have the default controls, container flex properties, and then we have each individual item. And here we can style each item individually, or we can remove it. For example, let's say I don't want to show the post excerpt. All I have to do is click on the 3 dots and hit remove, and boom. Okay, so you get the idea. Now let me just collapse this, then click on the plus sign, type loop builder, and let me click on it. And this time let's choose portrait layout 2. And as you can see, this one is slightly different because if you take a close look, the top of the image has rounded corners. Also, we see the category, we still have the excerpt, and then we see the avatar from the author. But for the rest, it's the same principle. You can change the number of columns, the number of posts per page, and much more. So let's check the other options. Click on the plus sign, the builder, you know the drill now. This time it's going to be the landscape layout. And as you can see, this one is pretty different from the first two, because now it shows everything in landscape mode. But for the rest, the settings are exactly the same. Click on the plus sign, loop builder, and this time it's going to be our box layout. And as you can see, this is more like a banner style layout. It's very modern and you can create amazing grids with it. So let me open the document overview. And as you can see, options are the same. Now let me expand it. And the image is actually here in the container. So if I click on container, then go to style. As you can see, for the type of background, it says image, but now we have dynamic image toggled on. And this is where the dynamic data extension from Spectra Pro comes into play, because now you can choose all types of data dynamically, like here, a background image, for example. Okay, now for the rest, you would style the elements just as you would for other elements on this page. Okay, great. So let's collapse this. Click on the plus sign, do builder, and this time let's create from scratch. So first of all, let's add an image. So click on the plus sign here in the first container and select image. Now as usual, you can upload the image insert from URL, or click on the media library. But this is not what we want, so I'm just going to get out of here. And if you take a close look here on the side panel, you see this icon, the database icon. So you want to click on it. Then the data source should be set to current post, and the source field should be set to featured image. Next, you can decide whether you want the image to be full or not. In our case, we're going to select medium large, and then click on apply. And as you can see, now we see the images from the blog post in our grid. Next, you want to scroll down and enable dynamic image link. Data source should be set to current post, as it is by default, and the source field should be set to post permalink. And then click on apply. Great. Now with our image selected, and once again, if you want to be sure, click on the document overview. So we got our image selected. I'm going to click on the plus sign and add a heading. Whoa, it's attractive but big. So let's go to style, typography, and let's change the size to 16 pixels. Next, still with our heading selected, you want to select all of the text here, and that's very important. Then click on the database icon in the toolbar. The data source should be set to current post, and the source field should be set to post title. Next, click on enable link so that we can link to this blog post, and the link source should be post permalink. And click on apply. Great, looks good, but maybe we can add a little spacing here between the elements. So let's open our document overview. Let's expand this. Let's expand the last loop builder, wrapper, and let's select our container. Then you want to go to style, spacing, and let's make the row gap 20 pixels. And as you can see, it's looking much better now. Now let's update to save our work. And if you go to the front end, this is what we have. Now we have to change the colors here, but just to give you an idea of how it looks like on the front end, this is it. Now let's go back, and for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to keep the first one right here, the one we edited. But I'm going to change some of the elements. So let me click back on the loop builder, and this time I only want 3 posts per page. Then let me expand the loop builder, click on the wrapper, and change the number of columns to 3. Great. Now let me remove all the other options and separators. Great. So let's make some changes. Let me select this button here and go to style, typography. Let's set the size to 14 pixels, and let's change the color to this one, and the hover color to this one. Okay, great, but now you may be wondering, if I only have like 3 posts per page, how do people get to the next post? Well, Spectra got you covered. So let's select our loop builder block, and as you can see here in the toolbar, we have the add pagination icon. So just click here, and voila. Now we can style this a little bit. So first of all, let's go to style, spacing. Where it says margin, you want to unlink the values, and let's give it a bigger top margin, so 40 pixels. Next, you want to click on a specific button, and you see it here in the document overview because you have the buttons group, but you want to select the first individual button. So with that button selected, go to style, typography. Let's make the size 14 pixels, and the color should be black. Next, where it says border, you want to change it to none, but change the border radius to 5. And next, click on spacing. You want to unlink the padding values and give it a top value of 12, 24 on the right, 12 at the bottom, and 24 pixels on the left. Great, and next, with our button still selected, in the toolbar, you want to click on the Spectra copy paste icon, click copy style, then select the second button, click the icon, and paste style. And let's repeat the operation for the third button, and there you go. Let's click on update, and now if you go back to the front end and let's refresh, as you can see now we have our pagination, and if I click on page number 2, as you may have guessed, we got 3 more blog posts, and the same thing if you go to page number 3, there you go. But there's still an issue here because the color of the title is not quite what we wanted, and that's for a simple reason. So let's go back in editing mode. Let's select our title, then go to style. And first of all, the color is not set, but even if we change the color here, nothing's going to really happen in the front end because this heading is now a link. Because if you recall, we added here in the dynamic data extension that we want to link this heading to the post permalink. So now you need to click on the link subtab, and now we can change the color of the link. So let's click here and let's make it this color, and then on hover, let's make it this color. Click on update. And now if we go back, let's refresh the page. There you go. And as you can see, if I hover over it, it works as intended. Now, initially, when we created the page, I made you hide the title of this page because you may want to add your own heading. But if you want the default title, all you have to do is click back on the little eye icon. Just like this, then click on update and back in the front end. If you refresh, there you go. Next, how to create a custom post type loop from scratch. Now, before we can edit the loop for our custom post type, kind of makes sense, but we need to create our custom post type. And that's the reason why we install the ACF plugin. So in WordPress, you want to go to ACF, post types, click on add new. And just like in the example, what a coincidence, let's call it movies. Now let's put the singular movie and the type key is set by default. Now we could link it to existing taxonomies to classify items of the post type. For the moment, the taxonomies are category, tag, and format. But we don't need any of this for this tutorial. Let's try to keep it simple here. Let's scroll down and let's toggle on the advanced configuration. Let's scroll down and on the general tab, you want to add the excerpts. Click on save changes. Now let's scroll down again, back in advanced settings. Click on the visibility tab. And where it says menu position type 3, let's scroll down. And where it says menu icon, we want to add an icon that represents what we're trying to showcase. Now, these are called dash icons, and if you right click and open the link, you'll find plenty of dash icons or dash icons, however you may want to call it. And if you click on one and you scroll back up, it's going to give you the class to add. So in my case, I already found this one, which represents a video or a movie. Now click on save changes. And as you can see now, we have the movie custom post type. If I click on all movies, of course, I got nothing for the moment. And if I click on add new, just like for a blog post, I can add a title, I can add some text if I click here, and that will be for the description. And if I click back on the movie tab, I can also add a featured image and an excerpt. So I already went ahead and created a bunch, as you can see here. And if you take a look at one, as you can see, I got the title, the description, and if I click back on the movie tab, I got my image and my excerpt. Now we'll need the excerpt, so make sure you add one. And if I come back to the image, just like for the blog post, it's better that you use the same size. So in this tutorial, I've used images of 380 by 562 pixels. So now all you have to do is to repeat the process, and in total you want to have 15 movie entries. Okay, so let's close this page, and next go to pages, then click on movies. Next, click on the plus sign, click on container, and let's select this structure. As usual, open the document overview, make sure that the main container is selected. Then in the side panel, you want to go to general, container, and make sure the content width is set to full width. And where it says minimum height, you want to click on VH and type 100. Next, you want to collapse the container subtab, click on flex properties. Now the direction should be set to row, align items should be set to flex start, and justify content should be set to top. Next, click on the style tab, spacing, change the column gap to 60. And for the padding, you want to unlink the values, and it's going to be 0, 60, 120, 60. And that's in pixels, of course. Next, right here in the middle, we want to click on the plus sign, and we want to add a container. So that's actually a sub-container if you look at the structure here. And we want to duplicate it. So let's click on the three dots and hit duplicate. Now let's select the first sub-container, go to general, container, and for the custom width, we want to click on the percentage and then give it a value of 30. Next, let's select the second sub-container, and this time, still with the percentage sign selected, you want to change the value to 70. Great! Now, once again, let's select our first sub-container, then go to Style, Border. In the drop-down, select Solid, and give it a width of 1 pixel all around. Now, the border radius should be set to 16 all around. And for the colors, we want to select this color for the normal state and this color for the hover state. So now when we hover over it, we have this effect. Next, still with the first sub-container selected, you want to scroll down, click on spacing, and for the padding, you want 30 pixels all around. Great, now let's select our second sub-container. Go to General, Flex Properties, and align items should be flex start. Next, click on style, and the padding should be 30 pixels all around. Now, before I show you how to use the loop builder, I want to show you how to pull data dynamically. We saw it previously, briefly, but I want to show you how to do it from scratch. So here in the first subcontainer, you see a plus sign, you want to click on it, and you want to locate the image Spectra block. It's in blue right here. This is the one we want. So click on it, and now in the side panel, you see the database icon. So just click on it. Now the data source should be set to post type. Then in search post, you want to click on it and select any movie that you added. I'm going to select The Godfather. Then in source field, you want to select featured image. And for the image size, we're going to keep it at full for the time being. Next, click on apply. And as you can see, it pulled the image dynamically. So this is what we wanted. So next, let's scroll down, and where it says dynamic image link, you want to toggle this on. Data source should be set to post type, search post, The Godfather in my case, and the source field should be set to post permalink. Next, click on apply. Great. Let's scroll down. The alignment should be set to center, and for the width, we're going to change the size to 344 pixels. Next, still with our image selected, you want to click on the plus sign and add a Spectra heading block. Next, go to Style, Typography, and change the size to 26 pixels. Next, you want to select the whole text, and that's very important, otherwise you'll get a prompt. Actually, let me show you. If I don't select the text, click on the database icon, I choose my post type, choose the movie, The Godfather, the source field, post title. And if I click on apply, you get this prompt that says, please select the text before applying settings. So let's do it again with our text selected this time. Post type, search post, let me pick The Godfather. Source field should be post title. That's what we want to pull dynamically. Then we want to enable link, and the link source should be the post permalink. So now if I click on apply, there you go. It pulled the right title, and it's now actually a link where we can access that movie entry. Okay, next let's select our heading, click on the three dots and duplicate. But first of all, let's change the style. So click on style, typography, and let's make it 18 pixels. And where it says line height, you want to click on pixels, and let's make it 28. Next, select the whole text, and where it says source field, you want to change from post title to post excerpt, and you want to remove the link option. Click on update, and I can see it pulled dynamically the excerpt from that movie entry. So let's click on update. Awesome. Let's scroll back up, and let's select our second subcontainer. Once again, if you're not sure what you're selecting, just open the document overview. So let me close this, and here I can click on the plus sign, and I got my loop builder Spectra block here. So let me click on this, and let's select the create from scratch option. Now let me reopen the document overview, and with my loop builder block selected, here in the side panel where it says post per page, I want to change this to 8. Then let's go to the content subtab, and where it says post type, I want to change this from post to now movie. If you recall earlier, we only had post and page, but now that we added our movie custom post type, it's here. Next, in the document overview, you want to expand the loop builder, click on the wrapper, and in the layout spacing subtab, where it says number of column, you want to change this to 4. Next, where you see the plus sign, you want to click on it and add the Spectra image block. Then you know the drill now. In the side panel, you want to click on the database icon. The data source should be set to current post. The source field should be set to featured image, and we don't need the full one for this one. So where it says image size, let's select medium large, and let's click on apply. Great. Now let's scroll down, and where it says dynamic image link, you want to enable. Leave the data source as current post, and for the source field, you want to select post permalink. Then click on apply. Awesome. So now in the document overview with our image selected, you want to click on the plus sign and click on the Spectra heading block. Now go to Style, Typography, and change the font size to 16. Let's close this, and let's click on the link subtab. Now for the color, you want to pick a light color for the normal state, and for the hover state, let's pick this color. Next, click on spacing, unlink the padding values, and you want to give it 10 at the top and 0 for the rest. Next, select the text of the first element, click on the DB icon, leave the data source as current post. The source field should be set to post title, enable link, and the link source should be the post permalink. Next, click on apply. And there you go. the titles do match the images. So we know we have the correct data. Let's update to save our work. Now it's great, but if you look at the featured image here, if you recall when we started this segment, this image is pulled dynamically, like the image is pulled dynamically, the title and the description, but we specifically said we want the Godfather. Now there's an issue here because as you can see, we see the Godfather here as a featured image, but also in the main list. Plus, when we add new movies, it's going to change here, but it's always going to be the Godfather as a featured image, as a featured movie. So the way to do it is actually different, but I wanted to show you how to dynamically pull data, specific data, so now you know how to do it. But now I'm going to show you what if you want just always the last movie to be the featured movie. So first of all, let's open the document overview and let's duplicate this. So I'm just going to duplicate it just so we can see the difference. So this is the first one on top and this is the one we duplicated. So first of all, let me click on the image, click on the three dots, and I'm just going to remove it, and the same for the title. Next, in the document overview, let me expand the second subcontainer, and where it says loop builder, I'm going to click on the three dots and copy block. Next, let me select my post excerpt from the first subcontainer, click on the three dots, insert before, and here I'm just going to paste, so I can either use a shortcut or right click and paste what I just copied. So now I pasted the loop builder here. It doesn't look good right now, but of course we're going to fix it. But before we do that, we need to put the post excerpt within our loop builder. So I'm just going to expand the loop builder, expand the wrapper, container, and I'm just gonna drag the post excerpt to where I want it to be. There you go. It's all gonna make sense in a moment. So let's select our loop builder, go to general layout. The post per page should be set to 1, and then we scroll back up. Next, click on the wrapper. The number of columns should be set to 1. Okay, much better. Now let me go back and select my post excerpt, go to style, heading, typography, spacing, and the margin should be set to 0 all around. Unlink the margin values, and you want to give it 20 on top and 0 for the rest of the value. Now, one more thing to do is to replace the description from The Godfather by pulling the description from the latest entry in the movie database. And for that, you want to select all the text, change the data source to current post, and the source field should still be post excerpt. Then click on update. Great. Next, click on update to save our work. Next, you want to select the post title, go to style, heading, typography, and give it a size of 26 pixels. Let's scroll back up, let's close this, and for the color, we want to make it this color, but if you recall, this is now a link, so we should go to link and change the color here. And we can change the hover state, of course. Awesome. So now this is pulling the last entry in the movie database. But the issue is it's appearing twice, but it's very easy to fix. So let's select the loop builder in our second subcontainer, and where it says post offset, we saw that option previously, we're going to change that into 1. So now this loop builder is going to show all the latest entries except from the last one, and this loop builder is only showing one entry and it's the last one. So it's all perfect now. So let's click on update to save our work. And if you go back to the front end, as you can see, this is what we built first. So this is pulled dynamically, but with a very specific movie in mind. Now, if we scroll down, this is the dynamic one. So now every time you add a new movie entry, everything is going to get shifted. Let's take a look. So back in the dashboard, let's go to movies, add new. Let's call it Finding Nemo. Next, let's click on featured image and let's pick the appropriate image. Click on set featured image. Next, where it says excerpt, you want to paste your excerpt. And finally, where it says type choose a block, you can just type or paste your content. Next, click on publish and publish one more time. And now if you go back to the front end and refresh, there you go. The content automatically shifted. Our featured movie represents the last entry that we just added, and the rest of the content has shifted from one position. Next, setting up single posts and single custom post types with Astra. Now let me show you something. If I click on one of the movies, so this is what we get by default. And if you go to the blog and click on the blog post, this is also what we get. It's very similar. Now how can we change this with the Astra theme? Let me show you. So back in the WordPress dashboard, you want to go to Astra, customize, and let's start with the movies. So let me click on a movie. Next, you want to go to where it says custom post types, movies, single movies. And first of all, let's change the container layout to narrow width. Next, where it says movie title, you want to click on the little arrow. And here you want to remove the meta and add the featured image. And next, the horizontal alignment should be set to center. Next, you want to click on the design tab, and for the inner element spacing, make sure that the value is set to 20. Okay, that looks much better. So let's publish our work. Now let's go back, and here let's click on blog, and let's open a blog post. Then here in the side panel, click on blog, single post. And once again, for the container layout, we want to choose the narrow width option. Okay, much better. And next, where it says post title, you want to click on the little arrow. You want to remove the meta, remove the excerpt, add the featured image, and you want to horizontally align in the center. Next, click on the design tab, and where it says inner element spacing, make sure it's set at 20 pixels. Okay, that's better. So let's publish this. And now if we go back to the front end, so this is how it was previously for our movies. So let me refresh. Much better. And as we scroll, we can go from movie to movie. And next, this was our blog post. So let me refresh. And voila, looking good and modern. So if you followed up to here, congratulations, because now you can build more complex websites. Made it very simple, but you can really build on this once you get the basics. So what we've done is we created this page with the movies. Like the first example, if you recall, we pulled that data dynamically, but it was very specific. We said we want the Godfather movie. Next, we did it, but this time it's completely automated. So every time we add a movie, the last one is the featured movie, and the rest shifts one position here. Next, we created the blog page with pagination, so we can go from page 1, 2, 3. We really decide how many elements we want on each page and how we want this to behave. Then we can click on any blog post, and we learn also how to customize the blog post. That's more with the theme, but the main idea is we learn how to manage the grid, how to edit the loop builder with the blog, and how to create it with movies. And more specifically, movies being a custom post type that we created from scratch with ACF. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, now is the time to show some love. Now, traditionally, if you wanted to build this type of website, you would need to know how to code, or you need to have money to hire a developer, but no more. So if you want to save time and or money, download Spectra Pro. And of course, you'll find the link in the description below. Now I'm curious, with the new knowledge, which type of website are you planning to build? Please let us know in the comments.